My ex-wife knocked on my door at 6 a.m. on a freezing November morning, holding a folder of paperwork and asking for the rent money I'd owed her for 7 long years. But I had nothing left in my bank account, nothing left in my shop, nothing left in me. So I offered her something she never expected, and the look on her face in that doorway is something I will carry to my grave. My name is Daniel Cole. I'm 53 years old. I fix broken furniture in a small town outside Eugene, Oregon, in a drafty shop I can't afford anymore, above a one-room apartment that still smells like the cedar she used to love. 7 years ago, my wife Sarah walked out of our marriage with a quiet kind of grief I never learned how to name. She didn't scream. She didn't slam doors. She just packed one suitcase, kissed my forehead like I was already a memory, and left me standing in a kitchen that suddenly felt twice as big. But before she left, she did something I never told anyone about. She emptied her inheritance, $18,000 her grandmother had left her, and slid it across the kitchen table without looking at me. "For the shop, Daniel," she said, "so you don't lose the one thing you love more than me." I swore on everything I had left that I would pay her back. Then I watched her drive away in the rain, and I told myself I had time. 7 years is not time. 7 years is a slow erosion. The big contract fell through. My best apprentice moved to Portland. My back started giving out on cold mornings, and my ex-wife became a name I only said out loud when I was alone in the dark. But that morning, when I opened the door and saw her standing there in a coat too thin for the cold, with snow in her hair and a folder shaking in her hands, I knew something had broken in her life too. Her eyes were the eyes of a woman who had run out of doors to knock on, and mine were the eyes of a man with $312 to his name, a shop the bank was about to take, and a heart that had never, not for one single day, stopped belonging to her. She said, "Daniel, I'm sorry to do this, but I need the money. I need it today." And I had nothing. For a long second, neither of us moved. The wind pushed past her into my apartment and stirred the curtains Sarah had sewn herself the year we got married. She noticed them. I saw her notice. Her throat moved once, like she was swallowing something sharp. "Come in," I said. "Please, you're shaking." "I'd rather stand." "Sarah, you're going to freeze on my porch. Come in. I'll make coffee. I'll listen to anything you have to say, but come inside." She hesitated. Then she stepped over the threshold like a woman walking into a museum of her own life. Her eyes moved across the apartment, the old kettle on the stove, the wooden bowl I'd carved for our second anniversary, the photo I had never taken down. Her hand tightened on the folder. I put the kettle on. My fingers were trembling worse than hers. 7 years of imagining this moment, and not one of those imaginings had prepared me for the smell of her shampoo in my doorway. "I lost my job," she said quietly before I could ask. "In August. The school district cut 3 teachers. They said it wasn't personal. It felt personal. Sarah, my second marriage ended in March. He took the savings, Daniel, all of it. I didn't fight him for it because I just wanted him gone." Her voice broke a little. She steadied it. "And now the bank is taking my house. I have until Friday. That's 3 days. I stared at her. "I never wanted to come here," she said. "I would have rather slept in my car than come here. But you swore to me, Daniel. You swore on your father's grave, and I need that money, or I lose the only home I have left." I opened my mouth. I closed it. I opened it again. The kettle screamed behind me. I didn't move to turn it off. "How much do you have?" she whispered. I almost lied. The lie was already sitting on my tongue, warm and easy and shaped like every excuse I'd made for 7 years. But I looked at her face, the cracks under her eyes, the way her hand was holding that folder like a life raft, and the lie died in my mouth. $312, I said. The folder slipped from her fingers and hit the floor. She didn't bend to pick it up. She just stood there looking at me, and I watched something inside her cave in. Not anger, worse, something quieter, something that looked like the last small flame in a long, dark winter, going out. "Then I have nothing," she whispered. "Sarah, I have nothing, Daniel." The kettle was screaming. The snow was falling against the window, and I was standing in front of the only woman I had ever loved, watching her realize that the man who had once promised her everything had become a man who could not even give her this. That was the moment the question I had been swallowing for 7 years finally clawed its way up my throat. And right behind it came the offer. Before I tell you what I offered her, what came out of my mouth in that kitchen at 6 in the morning with the kettle screaming and her folder on the floor, I need you to do one small thing for me. If this story is touching you, if you've ever loved someone you thought you'd lost forever, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell. Because what happens next in this kitchen is the moment that changed both of our lives, and I don't want you to miss a single second of where it goes. I turned off the kettle. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. "Sarah," I said, "sit down, please." "I don't want to sit, Daniel." "Then stand, but hear me out. Just hear me out one time, and if you want to walk out that door, I'll drive you home myself." She didn't move. She didn't speak. But she didn't leave either. And in that small silence, I found the courage I had been missing for 7 years. "I can't give you $18,000 today," I said. "I can't give you 1,000. I can barely give you a cup of coffee. The bank is taking the shop on the 15th. That's 6 weeks away. I haven't told anyone. You're the first person I've said it out loud to." Her eyes lifted to mine. Something flickered in them. Not pity. Recognition. Like she was seeing a shape she remembered. "But I have something else," I said. "I have orders, 3 of them. A dining table for a family in Bend, a set of cabinets for a bed and breakfast in Florence, and a restoration job for an old church pew that's worth more than my truck. If I finish all 3 by Christmas, I can clear about $22,000, enough to pay you back, every cent, with interest." "Daniel, I can't do it alone, Sarah." The words hung there. My back is going. My hands aren't what they were. I have 6 weeks and 3 jobs and 1 pair of hands that don't work the way they used to. I took a breath that felt like swallowing glass. "But you used to sand chairs beside me until your hair was full of sawdust, and you'd laugh because I'd try to brush it out with my fingers. You know this shop. You know this work. You know me." Her lips parted. She still hadn't picked up the folder. "Stay," I said. "Stay through Christmas. Work the shop with me. Sleep in the apartment. I'll take the couch. You take the bed. I don't care where I sleep. Every dollar that comes through that door between now and December 25th goes to you. If we finish the jobs, you walk out of here with every penny I owe you, and your house is saved. If we don't," my voice cracked, "if we don't, I'll sign the shop over to you. The tools, the building, whatever's left. You can sell it. You can do whatever you want with it, but at least you'll have something." She stared at me like she had never seen me before. "That's what I'm offering," I said. 6 weeks, 1 last winter, 2 old hands trying to save each other from drowning. The snow was still falling outside. The clock on the wall ticked once, twice, 3 times. I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. "Why?" she finally whispered. "Why what? Why would you sign your shop over to me? That shop is everything you have left, Daniel." I looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman who had sewn my curtains. The woman who had emptied her grandmother's inheritance into my dream without asking for a receipt. The woman whose name I still whispered into the dark when I couldn't sleep. "Because you were everything I had," I said, "and I let you go. I'm not letting you lose your home, too. Not while I'm still breathing." Her face crumpled. She turned away from me, fast, like she didn't want me to see. Her shoulders shook once, just once. Then she pulled herself back together with a strength that broke my heart. "I have a cat," she said into the window. "What?" "I have a cat. His name is Walter. He's old, and he yells at the refrigerator, and he won't eat anything but the expensive food. If I stay, he stays." I almost laughed. I almost cried. I did neither. "Walter's welcome," I said. "Walter can have the bed for all I care." She turned back to me. Her eyes were wet, but her chin was steady. "1 winter," she said. "That's it. No talking about the past. No questions about my marriage. No looking at me the way you used to. We work. We finish the jobs. I take the money. I go home. Deal." "And Daniel," she picked up the folder from the floor, slowly, like it weighed, 100 pounds. "If you break that promise about the past, I leave that same hour." "I won't break it," she nodded once. Then she walked to the door, opened it, and stepped back out into the snow without another word. I stood there for a full minute, sure I had dreamed the whole thing. Then I saw her car still parked at the curb, exhaust curling into the cold air, and I realized she hadn't left. She was just getting her suitcase. And Walter. She came back through my door 20 minutes later, carrying a tired orange cat in one arm and a small blue suitcase in the other. She set the cat on my couch. The cat immediately yelled at my refrigerator. She didn't smile, but the corner of her mouth moved, just barely, the way it used to when she was trying not to laugh in church. "Where do we start?" she asked. "The church pew," I said. "It's in the shop. It's been waiting for someone with patient hands." "I haven't done this in 7 years, Daniel." "Your hands remember, Sarah. I promise you. Your hands remember everything." She looked at me for a long moment. Then she took off her coat, hung it on the hook by the door, the same hook where it used to hang for 15 years, and walked down the stairs to the shop. I stood at the top of those stairs and watched her go, and for the first time in 7 years, I felt something in my chest that I had given up on feeling ever again. I felt hope. But hope is a dangerous thing in a small apartment with a woman you used to love. Because 3 days later, the first phone call came, and the voice on the other end of that line was about to tell me something about Sarah's second marriage that would change everything I thought I knew. The phone rang at 4 in the afternoon on the third day. Sarah was downstairs sanding the church pew, humming under her breath the way she used to, and I was upstairs stirring soup on the stove when I picked up. "Is this Daniel Cole?" a man's voice asked. "Husband of Sarah Cole?" "Ex-husband. Who is this?" "My name is Detective Hollis with the Lane County Sheriff's Office. Sir, I've been trying to reach your ex-wife for 2 weeks. Her phone has been disconnected. Are you aware her second husband, Mr. Richard Vance, was arrested in Nevada on Monday?" The wooden spoon stopped moving in my hand. "Arrested for what?" "Wire fraud. He drained the accounts of 4 women, sir. Your ex-wife was one of them. We've recovered most of the money. There's a check waiting for her at our office, $41,000. We just need her to come in and sign for it." I sat down. The soup forgot to boil. "Sir? Are you there?" "I'm here," I whispered. "She's here. She's safe. I'll bring her in tomorrow." I hung up the phone and stood at the top of those stairs for a long time, listening to her humming below. $41,000. Enough to save her house twice over. Enough to pay her own debts and walk out my door tomorrow morning and never need me again. I should have been happy for her. I told myself I was happy for her, but my chest felt like someone had reached inside and closed a fist around my heart. I walked down the stairs slowly. She was kneeling beside the pew with a sanding block in her hand, sawdust in her hair, and the late sun coming through the dusty window behind her like a painting. She looked up. She saw my face. "Daniel, what's wrong?" I told her everything, every word the detective said. I watched her face go through 7 different feelings in about 10 seconds. Shock, relief, anger, shame, then something quieter, something that looked like grief for the years she had spent trusting a man who never deserved her. She sat down on the pew. She didn't cry. She just stared at her hands. "So I can go home," she said finally. "You can go home. Tomorrow. Tomorrow." The shop went very quiet. Somewhere upstairs, Walter yelled at the refrigerator. Sarah laughed once, soft and broken, and then the laugh turned into something else, and she covered her face with her sawdust-covered hands and her shoulders began to shake. I knelt down in front of her. I didn't touch her. I'd promised I wouldn't. "Sarah, I don't know why I'm crying," she whispered. "I should be happy. I'm getting my house back. I'm getting everything back." "You're crying because you're tired." "No." "Then why?" She lifted her face, sawdust on her cheek, tears on her chin, eyes the color of the ocean before a storm. "Because I don't want to go home, Daniel," she said. "I haven't wanted to go home since the second I walked into your kitchen 3 days ago, and I'm so tired of being too proud to say the things that are true." I forgot how to breathe.
"I never stopped," she said. "Not for 1 day, not for 1 hour. I married him because I was lonely and he was kind to me on a Tuesday afternoon in a coffee shop, and I told myself love was a thing you could choose. But you can't choose it, it chooses you, and it chose me a long time ago and it never let me go. Sarah, you said I could leave if you broke the promise about the past. I'm breaking it right now. Tell me to leave." I looked at her, the woman who sewed my curtains. The woman who emptied her inheritance into my dream. The woman whose hands still remembered everything. "I'm not telling you to leave," I said. "I'm asking you to stay." "How long?" "For the rest of my life, Sarah." She closed her eyes. A tear slid down through the sawdust on her cheek. "Then I'll stay," she whispered. I reached up. I wiped the tear away with my thumb, and then for the first time in 7 years I hugged my wife. We finished the church pew that night. We finished the cabinets 2 weeks later. We finished the dining table on Christmas Eve, and the family and Ben cried when they saw it, and Sarah cried when they paid us, and I cried in the truck on the way home because I had forgot what it felt like to drive somewhere with her sitting beside me. We didn't lose the shop. We saved it together. She used the detective's check to clear her debts, and then she put what was left into a new sign for the front window. It said Cole and Cole Restorations. 2 names, 1 door. We were married on a Saturday in May in the backyard, under the cherry tree she had planted the first year we were married. Walter was there. He yelled at the minister. Nobody minded. Sometimes late at night when the rain taps the roof and the shop is quiet below us, Sarah reaches across the bed and takes my hand without saying a word. And every single time I think about that morning in November, the knock at the door, the folder on the floor, the question I was finally brave enough to ask. And the only woman I ever loved, walking back through my door with a suitcase and a cat and a heart that had been waiting for me the whole time. If this story touched you tonight, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next one. And tell me in the comments, have you ever loved someone you thought you had lost forever? Did you ever get them back? I'll see you in the next story.